So happy holidays, everyone. This is going to be the Left Lane Podcast Christmas special today. And my name is Sean from obviously the Left Lane Podcast here with the latest news and drama out of the motorsport world right now, as pretty much the motorsport season has winded up with some last minute drama out of a lot of motorsports. So to start off with Formula One, Audi, who will be entering the sport in 2026, has completed their engine test track in Nuremberg, Germany, and so far that's it for Formula One. No news for IndyCar, but there are rumors that Takuma Sato will be racing for Chip Ganassi Racing as Palou steps up to the reserve driver role at McLaren. And in the Hypercar World Endurance Championship, we have Roman Grosjean taking the steps up to the endurance world as he will be racing for the Lamborghini Hypercar team at the 24 Hours of Daytona this year. And speaking of 24 Hours of World Endurance, NASCAR has entered a Garage 56 entry for Le Mans in celebration of 75 years of NASCAR. And what the Garage 56 entry is basically a breakthrough or something, a new technology that can be used on the road. So I forgot, no, that's not on the NASCAR page. But I'll go to the Team Hendrick page and I'll show you some photos that were taken just this morning out of, I believe it's Virginia Raceway. I'm not too sure, but here are the photos. Compared to the current NASCAR, you can see this one has mirrors and a lot of front louvers to add extra downforce into those corners, even though Le Mans is mostly a bunch of straightaways. There's still those corners that you gotta deal with. And here's a closer entry. Sorry if it's out. So that's the best I can do. But that gives you a good picture of what NASCAR is going to be bringing to Le Mans in June of 23. And yeah, going into NASCAR for the off-season drama at least. Mostly for the Joe Gibbs part, we'll start off. Yesterday, Joe Gibbs celebrated the life of Coy Gibbs, who passed away last month. There was a ceremony in NASCAR, and Joe Gibbs released a bunch of promotional videos from Coy Gibbs' football and NASCAR career. And Ty Gibbs also posted on his Instagram, finally acknowledging the death of his father. In Instagram, at least, he has been relatively quiet with the media as he didn't want the subject of his father's death to be the full focus, which was what some reporters were pushing for a little bit when they were at the NASCAR awards ceremony in Nashville, which was kind of subpar to say the least. I know last year was pretty entertaining since there was a lot of joyous momentum coming off, considering that probably one of the biggest comeback stories in NASCAR history. The driver that got suspended won the championship the following year, and it was burnouts. There was a lot to look forward to. I even watched almost all the ceremony. I was busy with other stuff at the time, but yeah, I didn't really watch much of it since the momentum kind of plateaued a bit after Ross Chastain's Wall Rider, the Hail Melon rather, but um, it's just sometimes the end of the year can be boring, especially for Formula One. I'd say IndyCar was a little bit boring since Will Power had already taken command of the championship after Marcus Harrison fell off. Ericsson had a pretty decent title run, but going back to NASCAR. So this morning it was announced that most of Tyler Reddick's old sponsors would be staying with Kyle Busch for the A car. They redesigned the number from the Dale Earnhardt Jr.-ish font to a more rather gothic and formal format number. But yeah. So in terms of driver move up, we'll have the first one so far currently now who will be currently the second African American racing in the top three echelons of the NASCAR Cup Series. Raja Caruth will be joining GMS Racing in number 24. Jack Wood drove the truck this year, but he was released from the team for lack of performance, and so Roger Carruth will be joining GMS full time. And so Christian Eckes, also in the truck series, will be Christian Eckes and Jacob Garcia will be racing for McNally Hilgerman Racing in 2023. And for Joe Gibbs Racing in the Xfinity Series, there's a lot of shoes to fill. So first off, Ryan Truex will be there for 6 races in 2023. Sammy Smith will race full time for Joe Gibbs Racing in the Xfinity Series in 23, and John Hunter Nemechek has been clawing his way back up since 2020. And he was a guy that I wanted to get to first, but considering how Nemechek was given pretty poor equipment, I'm starting to see a little bit of a similarity between him and Priest Story because they're both aging drivers. They're not like in their late 40s. They're reaching the peaks of their career. Priest just got back into the Cup Series with a team that's kind of rebuilding itself right now. They built off a lot of momentum with Chase Briscoe and Kevin Harvick twins, but yeah, most of the patterns I'm starting to see is drivers that lose their Cup ride after a couple of years. I know Nemechek was only there for 1 year, and then front row just said, "All right, see you later," and then Ryan Preece was with JTG for, I believe, 3 seasons. Yeah, 3 seasons, and they sacked them probably because of lack of smart. Actually, no, they sacked them because they were downgrading from one car, and they chose to cut Stenhouse over Preece. And Preece down the sidelines took the test driver role, and of course, long story short, Custer gets demoted, and yeah, Preece gets reinstated back at the Cup Series with Stuart Haas, and it's looking like right now the Xfinity Series is going to shape up to be the story of Cole Custer and John Hunter Nemechek next year. And so it looks like a lot of it is set. The Cup Series is still that X variable, meaning it's unknown, but for the Xfinity Series, it's, as I said before, going to be more predictable. So I think with Custer having revenge on his mind and probably obviously upset that he lost his Cup Series ride, but at least he still has Stuart Haas in the Xfinity Series. So it's going to be looks like it's going to be the Custer, Nemechek, and Allgaier story next year in the Xfinity Series. But obviously, yeah, it's going to be Josh Berry, Allgaier, Nemechek, and Custer that are going to battle up what's looking like a 4-way battle for the championship. And so yeah, and some of the things that I'm going to bring in for the New Year's to wrap up the show. I'm going to be working on a little diorama racetrack that would be flexible. I'd make it out of paper. I would help demonstrate the banks, and if I want to demonstrate any race action, I can just show it on the board with the cars. And it's mostly just equipment upgrades that I can bring in that would be allowed in here at least, so that I can make sure that you guys have a more experienced and in-depth, immersive is the word, a more immersive feel into the show. And so I'll be bringing in diecast cards to demonstrate the racing. I'll bring maybe a poster board or something to lay out the racetrack. I the black board that I have is kind of small, but I'll bring that in. I'll bring in a piece of stretchy paper or something just to form the wall. Actually, no, I'll use dominoes to form the walls of the racetrack. So I'll form it in a cookie cutter, short track, road course, whatever. Or I don't if I can't, if I don't have enough dominoes for the road courses like Coda Road America, or Road America is not on the list, but that was just an example. If I don't, if I don't have enough dominoes for the road courses, if anything, then I'll just draw it. It's no big deal. But yeah, so that rounds off another good year. My second year with WIUR, used to be WICR before we changed to Iona University. So before I sign off, I hope you all have a happy, healthy Christmas, a safe holidays, Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. And yeah, this is Sean Urban with WIUR. No frequency number, but WIUR, Iowa Gales Radio, Left Lane Podcast, and I will see you all next year. Happy holidays, everyone.